We live? Are we live? Doo-doo-doo. What's going on, folks? What's going on, good people? I ain't even gonna lie to y'all tonight. I wasn't even feeling getting on tonight. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. But I remember Dalton asked me last week, when's the next time I'm gonna do a live? Second night. And I said, I'm gonna do it next week. Didn't know what happened next week. Too much has happened this week. And I knew that if I didn't do it tonight, it was gonna be next week. So I said, you know what? I'm a man of my word. I'm all about integrity. If I told Dalton I'm gonna be here this week, then I'm gonna damn be here this week, you know. Because tomorrow I'm watching the game. That's my tradition on Thursday nights. Go to the bar, have a cigar, watch the game. And Friday through Sunday is dedicated to the wife and family. So tonight was the only and best night to do it. But today was a long day. For those who might be curious to know how my interviews went last week, I did end up getting the role. I got the job. That job I started Monday as a AWS cloud migration architect for organization that's nearby. And so far it's pretty daggone cool. Definitely a career vertical move. And more about that a lot later. But that has got my mind there. It's thinking about a lot too much time this week. But, you know, all blessings come with some stresses. Anyway, what's going on, guys? Cloud Tech Unk Big Unk tonight was cracking, man. Let me see some comments, man. Where everybody at? Where everybody at? I already know. Let's get some questions popping. So tonight, if you're in the chat checking in, if you wanted to break through bears on our YouTube channel, one of our subscribers on our YouTube channel, let's see your comments, put some paws up in the chat, put some comments in the chat so I know you're here. Everybody else, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, wherever else you are. Let me see some love in this, some love in the comments so that I know that y'all here and I'm not just talking to myself. Because I promise you tonight, it's not gonna be a 2 hour night. By the way, I want to mention this. First off, it's a diet sweet tea night. All right, it's a sweet tea type of night. I'm literally going to bed after this. Um uh had the longest podcast that I've ever had in my life. When did we do this? Tuesday, Monday? Anyway, I did it with Henry, I can mess up your last name. With textuality. We had a great interview. I want to say last name Davis. Yep, Henry Davis. Textuality, security GRC, expert SME. We had a great long podcast talk for his show. That show should be dropping this week. Actually, we talked last week actually, but it should be dropping this week. And we talked for like 3 hours. That's the longest I've ever did a podcast. But I'm excited about it because we gave y'all so much knowledge and behind the scenes of not just my journey, but just so much advice to those looking to break into cloud tech, along with handling so many misconceptions about the industry at large. Um, so it's entertaining in a lot of ways. But yeah, so expect that this week. I'm likely going to drop a link to it as soon as I get the link on where you can find it at. But tonight is the night we cover a topic that we need to cover. Boom, boom, boom. And that's how to survive your first tech job. You worked hard, you got your certifications, you did your projects, you did your interview, dozens of interviews, you submitted over 100 or more applications. You went through everything and you finally got that offer level, baby. That offer letter. That offer letter changed your life, baby. You hear me? What's happening, Tay? What's going on, boss? Everything's smooth, brother. Everything's smooth. All right. So you got your opportunity. Let me go back to the title. Uh, oh, no, that's not it. Yeah. Um, yeah, you got your opportunity. You're starting your first tech job, and now you're ready for what's next. The problem is you also don't know what's next. All right, because it's so much content out there that teaches you how to get your first tech job and the things, the skills and stuff you need to have to get your tech job. But nobody really actually talks about what you do with that first tech role, that first tech job. Nobody tells you what to expect, especially in the cloud engineering role or any type of cloud role in your first tech role. Just even your first tech role in general. Even if you're working help desk somewhere, cloud support somewhere, some type of tech analyst somewhere. So, what you sipping on tonight, Tay? Man, I appreciate that, man. Where everyone at, man. That's what I'm trying to find out, man. I know you listen. If I say I'm gonna be here, if I schedule this call for 8:30, just expect me to be 20 minutes late. You hear me? And just consider it warm up time because I'm usually cranking up my engine to get ready to put on the show. All right. So, but yeah, Dalton, man, what's cracking, man? What's happening, Dalton? I told you I was gonna be here, and I'm here, man. I was just talking about you at the station. I was like, I told Dalton I was gonna be here at the beginning. I told him last week I'm gonna be here next week. Yeah, and I must show up. If I gotta drag myself to that damn camera. But yeah. So we're gonna talk today. I'm gonna give you advice on what to do when you actually get that first tech role. All right. Because there's a lot of mistakes that happen. You know, most people get that tech role and then they feel like, oh my gosh, the first thing they hit, still feel like an imposter. They still feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I got that job because I'm lucky, not because I was qualified. Then you feel like, oh, there's so many more smart engineers on my team. Um, maybe I should. Maybe I am. Maybe they're gonna find out that I'm not as good as them, or I don't know exactly all the things I told them I knew in my interviews. Trust me, they know what they got a great scope of what your skill set, the limits of your skill set based on the interview. When usually senior engineers, if you've done this long enough and you hear people talk, you can kind of grasp the scope on what they can and can't do. And you kind of know when a person is kind of woofing it in the interview, embellishing their skills in the interview just to get the job. So, and if you're a senior engineer, you're probably like, man, let me cut them some slack and let them shine. So I'm gonna let them keep on gloating about what they can, not gloating, but embellishing about what they can and can't do. But I know what's interesting. I'm gonna make this quick, but just I have went through this long interview process, and this guy I can tell he was a senior engineer. He was one of the greatest engineers I've ever worked with. Just technically and also still was a great mentor on the job. But anyway, man, he passed me when I had my round of interviews with him, but because I interviewed with every senior engineer on the team prior to getting the job. He passed me, of course, and I think he might have even advocated for me in the interview. I think we talked about that, but man, I got on the job, didn't know half of like I didn't know anything about Git or Cia, Linux. I didn't even know many Linux commands. I really wasn't even proficient in Linux yet. And most I could do was probably like CD into a nearby directory. Anyway, it's funny because during the call me and him had at work, we was working through. He was helping me through a project. One of the comments he made, he was like, "Look, this was like late at night. This is probably like, man, him should sit on calls for like, and that's why I got to get into these tips I'm gonna give y'all because y'all got to get these gems of how to make the most out of your first tech role." Um, he was like, he's like, "Look, it's not about what you don't know. I know, and you know what you don't know, but but it doesn't matter. But they don't know what you don't know." So regardless if I'm helping you with this project, they don't know that I helped you with this project. So take all your credit. Take all, don't give none of the credit to me. Don't worry about me giving me my credit. It's up to you to learn this stuff and figure it out along the way. But what you don't know or lack thereof is between us, and that ain't what the company need to know. So it's like, man, I mess with you, man. That's what I'm talking about. So every time, especially the first few times, he used to always kind of give me that spell. He would give me a speech every time. He's one of those engineers. He gonna help you. He's golden because he knows exactly what he's a shrewd engineer. He knows all his technical stacks and all his technical programming languages and runtimes and containerization and everything to a T. But he also knew that I didn't know much of anything um, when it came to programming skills or scripting skills. Those were very weak areas for me. And this was a highly demanding scripting role. And so he's like, it's not about what you don't know and what I know you don't know. It's about what the company doesn't know you don't know. So I was like, man, that was game. What's happening, Strum? So anyway, I want to get into these. I got 10 for y'all, so we run through them all. But I want y'all to be able to use these advice because most people get into their first role and they feel like, the money is not that much, so I shouldn't take it seriously. People was just saying that I should probably just focus on trying to get my next role and blah 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 blah. And a half go about executing in the role, and it's like, but they missed so many opportunities of what they could have gained from that first tech role. Like I even look back and like there were quite a few things I missed out on that would have lasted me down, got me a lot further faster down the road. But nobody's there to tell you, and you don't know until you're like into your third tech role, you know, and it's too late to go back to your first tech role. So I'm definitely going to show you all how to make the most of your first tech role. So when you get into it, or even if you're in it right now, matter of fact, who's in their first tech role? Put it in the chat. Let me put me in the chat if you're in your first tech role. But yeah, so many people miss out because they just don't pay attention to they just don't know. And that's fair, ignorance is bliss, but you know, I'm here, Cloud Tech D'Amico's Chambers here, to make sure that you don't know, that you well prepared. So like I said on the podcast with Henry, I train my boot camp students to be like not, to be like when they get in their role, to be like, oh, I know this. Oh, I seen this before. Oh yeah, I know what this is. Oh, like that's how we train our boot camp students. That's how well we prepare them to excel in the role, not just to get a job, but to excel when they get the opportunity. And because we want them to have that oh reaction, oh, instead of that, damn, I don't know what that, damn, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Damn, I don't know what they're gonna be. Damn, I never seen that before. So you kind of have those damn moments when you're in your first tech role. And I want to help alleviate all of that. So yeah, let me see if has anybody been in is anybody in that tech role. Tay said, I ain't sipping anything tonight. I work at Knock right now. Okay, cool. Network, what was that network something center? Network. My brain is kind of halfway fried, but I forgot what a knock is. Yeah. Let me see what that thing is, man. Knock. I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. Nah. Oh yeah, network operation center. Duh. Yeah. All right, yeah, cool. No, that's a great role to be in, man. That's a prime role. Um, a lot of people overlook those knock roles because there's like in data centers and you're in a networking role. It feels like a help desk role, feels like a support role, but no, that's really a role that could be a stepping stone towards a prime networking engineer role, or a architect network engineer role, or a all type of other type of senior cloud roles when you start off as a knock, because essentially the cloud is networking. Like you can't build. I know, man. I don't got my cigar tonight. You can't really build anything without understanding or having a network attached to it. So knocks are great. I always say people who get their first jobs, their first tech role as in a knock center, they're some of the luckiest people, man. Michael shared his story of how he went from a Knox, working in a knock for a hotel, to working at Google, for their networking side. No, American Airlines, they're becoming like their senior network engineer. So like for responsible for like their global connection. So those knock roles, don't take those type of roles like lightly. Those are really serious roles. So I know that the work can get tedious and boring and redundant, but it's a lot of value in that. So let me get in these steps, man, before I get too immersed in these questions, man. I know, man, no cigar tonight, man. I barely got on tonight to do this tech at night, but I'm here and I'm well prepared. All right. But next week. Hold on, Doctor. Let me stop telling you next week because I'm gonna try to get on next week. Do that tech at night next week as well. Oh, actually, I do gotta get on next week because I got a great guest for y'all. He's a robotics engineer. So especially if you have kids or teenage kids that want to get that are interested in robotics, or you yourselves are interested in robotics careers, definitely want to tune in to Tech at Night next week. But more details come on that. So let me get into these. All right. So if you're ready for we're gonna do 10. So I'm gonna kind of again I'm gonna breeze through these because I ain't staying on here all night. I gave y'all an hour 30 last time. This time I'm trying to give y'all at least 30. So if you're ready for number one, let me see the ones in the chat. The ones in the chat, if you're ready for the first tip of how to survive your first tech role. All right, survive your first tech role and beat uh what is that again? Um Not survivor's remorse, imposter syndrome. So if you're ready to beat imposter syndrome and survive in your first role, tech role, let me see a one in the chat. Let's see a one in the chat. Need some ones. Okay, Roy gave me a one. Let me see two more ones. This is y'all starting to pile in here, so we're gonna need some more participation. Let me see two more ones. All right, one more one. I need one more one. Put a one in the chat. I promise I ain't gonna go till I get that one. Come on, y'all. Come on. All right, we're gonna get into it. I ain't got time to be wrestling with y'all all night. Y'all want to act antisocial. All right, number one. There we go. Thank you, man. Appreciate that helmet. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, helmet. That is funny. All right. One. Give yourself a damn break. You've worked really hard to get this point. You got your certifications. You got your project. Did your projects. You went through. You submitted. God knows how many applications. You faced. God knows how many rejection emails, and you went through dozens of interviews for you to get to that final round and get your job offer, and you accepted the job offer. Give yourself a praise break for getting in that first tech role. All right. Give yourself some credit. This literally means, especially in today's age, if you've had a tech role within the last, I want to say about 8 years, 6 to 8 years, you've literally been competing with roles from people from around the world. Literally, especially if you're in a remote role, you're competing with probably thousands of applicants. All right. Especially if this is a role that's been a reoccurring role, there's been applicants, and the job is probably terminated the role because they thought they found somebody, or that person quit or whatever, and they had to hire somebody new or whatever. And they've been interviewing people around the world. You had to compete with hundreds of different applicants, and you had to compete with dozens of others for interviews that for you to get this job. You didn't get this tech role because you just showed up. You got this tech role because you were qualified. I remember my recruiter, one of my recruiters in my first uh, cloud infrastructure role, which was a big role for me. I remember I kept saying, being thankful for it. And I was truly grateful for the opportunity for getting the job, especially being that we all the hoops we had to go through for interviews. Um, he kept reassuring me, like, no, I didn't give you the opportunity. I didn't put it in your hand. He's like, I presented it to you, but you did all the work. You're qualified for this job. You were qualified. It wasn't no, affirmative action hire or anything like that. You did it because you were qualified. And so, and literally every job I've had after that, I've never gotten a tech role because I knew somebody or somebody, favored me and wanted to tell me about an opportunity at a company they work at. I've literally gotten every job through applying for the role, interviewing with the recruiter or the hiring manager, and going all the way through the front door and ending up with the offer letter. Never. I've always went and got my opportunities through the front door. Never got it. And I'm not saying if there's nepotism and you can get some nepotism and somebody can make it easier for you to get a role, take advantage of it, please. I just haven't had that luxury. So I'm a front door guy. I've been front door my whole career, and so you can too. So don't take it for granted. I remember I first got my first tech role, and you have that. You're going to run into success remorse, especially if you come from impoverished background or a tough background. um, you get that first role. That first role means a lot to you because one is probably likely the most money you've ever seen and made in your life, on top of all the benefits you're getting and the perks of the job. You're probably getting all this vacation time, probably getting all these discounts with different retail stores, gym memberships, you get all these amazing health benefits. You probably being able to work from home or hybrid, or you can travel the world and work remote. Um, it's like you're working on the coolest of laptops or technology. So it's like there's many persons. They might have a restaurant in your building you work in, what have you. You can come and go as you please. Like again, you're kind of in a lap of luxury in this opportunity, right? And but again, give yourself a break. Like don't. Oh, I gotta hurry up and get the next role. Oh, this is just the beginning for me. Oh, don't stop. Don't continue to stay hungry. Like yeah, all that's gonna come. Like you're gonna after you done celebrating and you do your little powwow moment, you're gonna have that moment where it's time to do. You done your victory dance. You're gonna have that moment where it's time to all right, lock in. But before you do all that and hit that other stress button, don't take a moment just to appreciate yourself for getting to this point, because you got to give your body and mind the love and glory that it needs for getting to you to where you currently are in this role, because you've always beat up your body and mind when you didn't get opportunities. You always was, oh, I wasn't good enough. Oh, I wasn't smart enough. Oh, I didn't know enough of this. Oh, I didn't have this much qualifications. Man, I should have been procrastinating with that. Man, I should have just stuck with this. Man, I should have just not missed that. Man, I should have just joined this. Man, I should have just followed my gut. Like you have always beat yourself up. Give yourself some credit and some appreciation when things go right for you and opportunities get granted, such as you getting this first tech role. So that's number one. Give yourself a damn break. All right. We're gonna go into number two. Number two. This was a big one for me, and this is gonna be a good one for you. Let's see, put this in. Number two. Number two is bing. Join every internal group that the company got to offer that you're interested in. I don't care if it's a video game Slack channel. I don't care if it's a Latinos only space, a Black only group space. Not only because it's company, HR approved, of course, but a space for blacks, space for short people, short space for gingers, a space for whoever, however, whatever. People who are interested in anime, people who are interested in origami, people who are interested in cigars, whatever the company has, or the organization has available as like a resource group, just to do um, uh, like interacting with people with common interests. Join those groups. All right, long as it interests you. I'm not saying join something you don't like, but if it piques your interest, join. And here's why. I'm not saying that you got to lead it, that you got to be the front runner of it, that you got to be the face on it on the website like this. No. What I'm saying is that when you join these groups, it's not more so just to, oh yeah, this is cool what I'm into. Oh, that's cool that what you're into. Yeah, we can do this together. It's more so of a networking thing because that's one of your prime opportune times where you'll be interacting even with developers and engineers and people from different teams. Sales teams will be there. People who are on the front end dealing with the customers or clients face to face will be there. You just never know who's going to show up there, and this is a prime chance for you to network because you build bonds and connections with people over a shared commonality of you all been in this group together. Even if you don't know much about what the subject of the group, if it just piques your interest, join it. Like don't take that opportunity for granted of being able to connect with those at your job. You know, it's not saying that you got to be lifelong friends or pals or buddies, but it is saying this is an essential part of networking. Like because you all eventually are going to leave the company, the organization, either self willingly or lay off willingly. All right, you're going to leave the organization, and you always want to be able to. It's great to be able to have people who you've worked with in the past that you can use for references. That's gonna be key, like, you're not gonna step in many tech roles, especially the lucrative ones. The more lucrative it is, the more of a background check they're doing, especially as far as, like, reference check. They're doing a professional reference check, alright? Um, um and those people just have insights on the knowledge of the industry from different like you never know where that relationship can take you and evolve into. I've made really great lifelong friends of people I work with, and some has just been most for the most part just been lukewarm, cool relationships where it's respectful. But join those groups, man. Again, you get to because you get to learn about what other areas of tech that maybe you may be interested in learning, or you may be end up teaching someone who's had interested in getting in the cloud or getting these cloud tech skills, what have you. And you can be their liaison on helping them make their crossover. So join those networking groups. Don't join those internal groups that the company offer. Don't be a person who's just gonna be like, I'm just here to do my job from this time to this time, and I'm getting out of here. I don't know these folks. They don't pay me enough for that. You're gonna miss out again. You're gonna look back and be like, dang, I should have joined that because you're gonna find out that in your career, your third, fourth job in, you don't know enough people in your field. You don't. And so it's hard to find people to co-sign for you, especially during times when you need a co-sign, like a professional co-sign, not your homeboy, homegirl who can say they worked in this and that company. No, they're gonna need somebody with a work email, all right, so they can verify. And especially if you end up working for the government, they are going to do a thorough job when you get that clearance, any type of security clearance, of vetting your references. So again, join those internal groups. All right. If you're ready for number three, yeah, well, I'm gonna have to do the numbers by the threes. It'll make things pass by far faster. So if you're ready for the third tip on how to survive in your first tech role, as well as how to overcome imposter syndrome, how to beat imposter syndrome, give me a three in the chat. Let me see some threes. Let me see some threes. All right, Bernard. I hope we working towards you getting your first tech role, but we preparing you for when you do get that role. It's gonna be a O moment and not a damn moment. And if you don't know what an O and a damn is, in regards to this talk, at the end of this video, play it back and we talk about the O's and the dams. But yeah. Hey Tay, phone famous TV said, how can they get a knock roll? So Tay, drop a comment in the chat on some advice you got for others how they can get their network operations center role. I see some threes. I see some threes. Okay, let me get it. Can I get one more three, y'all? What's that in the Cortillas? Can I get one more three, y'all? One more three. I just want one more. I don't think that's a big ask. I don't think that's a big ask at all. Just get one more three about y'all. One more three. There we go, baby. Okay. Number three is Oh, my bad. That was four. Number three. Number three is don't assume you'll be fired after each mistake. This was me. And this is how you're gonna give yourself anxiety. And this is how you're gonna pass out. You're gonna have stress, you're gonna have a heart attack, you're gonna have a stroke, you're gonna have a come to Jesus moment. You're not getting fired after your, especially your first few mistakes. You're in an entry level role. You're in a, you're a newbie. The hire managers and the bosses, directors, supervisor, whoever, who all interview, because you have to interview the hiring managers or supervisors on the team or directors before they give you the okay. Um, then they know your journey. They know you're new and you're green to this field as a, in a working capacity. So they know that you're bound for mistakes. What happens is, and I'm gonna share a quick story. It's crazy because as I go through all these steps, I've been through or can closely relate to each of these steps, but these pieces of advice. So I basically black, and I think I got a video about this where I thought I was gonna get fired. This is my first tech role, and and I needed the money. Like I was like this, like I was it was either like if this tech role didn't pan out the way it needed to pan out, if I lost this job, I'm going back to Mom, can I crash at your crib for a minute? Type of ordeal, right? And I know what that anxiety feels like. All right, so that type of pressure when it's applied. So I was like, I remember I was like, I had blacklisted basically a IP on a production for some production servers for our biggest client. All right, blacklisting IPs mean basically you block an IP. All right, I blocked it at the security group level, so that means that applications, those on-premise apps, or those particular users who were using that port couldn't access the production. Anyway, it caused a huge outage in a country that I won't name on this stream. It caused a huge outage. Oh, boy. I was like, I know I'm gone. I know they're kicking me out of here. Literally, it was so bad. The ticket queue went from it was about 32 tickets on average. We get about an hour to literally it spanned up to like 930 something tickets within a matter of minutes. I knew I was out of there. So but no, I didn't get wrote up for it or anything. Now there was a time I did get wrote up, but that's another story. But I didn't get written up for it or anything. The managers they just really counted. They knew I was green. They knew I was new. It was an honest mistake. And that's the thing that's the luxury of having senior people that you work with is they've been exact all your most of your like 99% of your senior engineers, your supervisors, and especially directors are different type of breed, but most of your senior engineers and your managers, supervisors, they've all been when you've been at. They know exactly what you're going through. All right. Don't take it for granted just because y'all different backgrounds, look different, talk different, walk different. They've been exactly through the same experience of what it feels like to be a newbie in tech in your first tech role. And so when you make mistakes, it gives a company opportunity to create better controls, put better controls in place. So it helps them with their training, and then it helps them with their security controls. Because after that, they learn, okay, maybe we shouldn't give the newbies, our support engineers, who at the bottom, basically, our bottom tier support engineers, maybe we shouldn't give them production level access. Maybe let's keep them on a non-production side. So it creates those controls. But yeah, don't assume you're gonna get fired after you make first mistake. And I'm good for making a mistake on a role in a job that I worked on. Now it's since gotten a lot better. As I got more experience, of course, those mistakes greatly. Now it just becomes a thing of a knowledge gap where I'm not that familiar or not that knowledgeable, so I got to go do a lot of reading and studying up on it. But the mistakes, they correct themselves. And you learn from them. You learn from them. The company learns from them. It becomes a learning experience, especially if you're working in a good organization that supports growth. They usually leave a lot of grace room for mistakes. So just because you make a mistake don't mean you're gonna get fired. All right. You don't have to worry about anything really when it comes to mistakes until you get that verbal warning or that written, and most importantly that written warning. You usually get 3 warnings before they end up letting you go. But and I've got stories about that as well. I've seen people get all the third write up. You know, watching something they shouldn't have been watching during company hours on the company Wi-Fi, getting caught with it and fired, and still end up getting rehired back with the company. Right? So, like I said some crazy stuff. So, don't think that and even if you do get fired, that's not the last company that's going to hire you. All right. So, which is a whole nother conversation. But just sad to say, don't assume you'll be fired after making a mistake. If you somebody who's been in your first tech role, especially Tay, I know Tay, I'm leaning on you a lot tonight, but you're kind of making a splash with the knock network operations center. I'm gonna keep saying it every time because I couldn't get it off the first time. So talk about a time where you made a mistake, Tay. What you think about people who make mistakes? How do y'all treat people who make mistakes at your job? But yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to number four. The next time I ask for a number will be at six. All right. So four and five, I'm just gonna go straight to them. Number four, y'all may have already seen because y'all nosy and I made a mistake. All right. Oh, y'all gonna like it. Definitely number five. But this number four is still important too. All these are important, but you know, some of this stuff is spicy. All right. Number four, volunteer to join those advanced meetings just to learn. So anytime you see all those managers getting together to talk about a program or a phase in the sprint, that's or implementation of a new software or what have you, or a new piece of infrastructure they're investigating or a problem that they're trying to solve, and it's like a senior level thing, or some of the best engineers that you work with are invited to this call, what have you. And, make it your business when it's appropriate, of course. You don't want to do it when it's like you see you're impeding on, them trying to handle business privately. But when it's like, well, that you do your teams calls or whatever, and then one of the managers says to the other manager or says to some of the other senior engineers, well, I'm thinking about da 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 da, and they say, yeah, I think that might be a good idea. Let's discuss further after the call, or whatever. You should then make it an opportune time for yourself to be like, hey, do you guys mind if I join on just to learn, just as a learning? I might be able to contribute something, but my main interest is just to learn. Believe it or not, those things become noticeable by managers, and by your just upper team players. All right. And it's not saying, oh, it's noticeable. We might want to promote you one day. No, it's noticeable because when it comes time for you to get that reference in the future that you will need, they're likely to give you a great recommendation because it's things like that that make you stand out, that shows that you truly have always been a learner, that you are truly a go-getter, that you are truly a task master, that you're not just waiting on someone to hand you a task or something to do, that you will go solve it, go put your hands on it type of person. But you're really doing this just to learn, like literally to learn. Like, even if you don't understand anything, that's the thing about learning. You might not understand what exactly is being said in these meetings because again, it's higher scope knowledge. However, if later on down the line, as your skills increase or you come across this particular tech problem, eureka moment, all because you joined that meeting. All right, all because you participated in those meetings. It might not even be a tech thing. It might just be a people thing. You might just learn how to better communicate with someone who's a C-suite level executive or who's a front end customer that you're all onboarding. You might learn terminologies or things you just didn't know, just by just listening in, you know. So volunteer to join those advanced meetings just to learn. Now, all this leads up to my number five. All f all 4 of these leads up to my number 5. Let's see. Number 5 is, boom, avoid hanging out with slackers, alright? Avoid hanging out with slackers. I cannot tell you this enough. Um, I got so many stories on this. I don't even care to get into them all right now, but, um, that's actually been one of my strengths that I learned in my career. And one of the things I learned, a principle of life that got pounded into me early. Wow, pause. Pause. Shout out to Mason Cameron. Pause, yo. Pause. Uh, mm, one of the things that got installed in me early was that be your own man or be your own woman, of course. Be your own person because when you start following people, you can end up falling into mistakes that weren't yours to make had you not followed those people. I get it. The slackers are sometimes the cool kids, the cool people. They don't take work seriously. They feel like they're not getting paid enough. They're always cracking jokes. They're always just hanging out. They're just clicked up together, and it looks obvious. Like that even the organization recognizes the cliques in the groups. You don't want to be that person. At least you don't want to be that with the slackers. All right, because here's one thing: the commonality that the slackers share, they come up with excuses for not doing everything. Right? Oh, I'm not doing this. Oh man, I remember one time I was telling my folks about this, and it's not saying you hate you have any envy or vitriol towards these people. It's just business. It's strategy. All right. It's I can associate with you, but I just can't be around you like that. Because I got places to go and things to do. And you're not a person that's trying to act with that incentive that you have places to go and things to do because all your energy is circumvented around just everything having to be about you slacking. I remember being with I they were, I just remember being around coworkers during a certain point where I would say, "Oh, get in the cloud, get in the cloud, go in the cloud," and then some of the coworkers would just be like, "Man, you got to have this much experience to do that, man. They asking for all that, man." It was just all these excuses, right? And then no one believed me or believed that they're capable of doing it until I showed up a few months later with my offer letter. First, I started with the certification, then I showed up with the offer letter. Even when I showed up with certification, it was still, man, you ain't go, they ain't go, they ain't go do it. And I got showed up with the offer letter, shocked, surprised, and awe. You know, but again, when you hang around slackers, you miss out on all the capabilities of which you can achieve and the time that you can take advantage of. Get around people who are just doing things, even if you don't feel like it. Just get around people who are moving, who are shaking, who are making things happen. You ain't got to be the best of friends or buddies, but those people are going to excel. All right. This role, they're probably likely in their first role, their tech role as well, a second tech role, but they're going to take off. Like I've seen so many people I wish I would have even got a little bit more closer to in my first role who just immediately took off. They took off like their second and third role was they were out of here. I'm talking about working for big fame companies and then acquiring senior level roles at that, and just I was just like, ooh, he was those person he or she was, were always really good at that job, but we didn't really click or whatever. I kind of dang, should have kind of warded that relationship a little bit more than I could have, than I should have, than I actually did. So um avoid hanging around slackers, man. People who just aren't about moving forward. And again, you're in the position where you don't want to be here. And it's usually a person that's been in this role for like 3 or more years. Usually they're the slackers. They've gotten complacent in this role to the point where they're scared of what's next. All right. They're scared of applying themselves um, to reach new heights because those new heights may feel like they're a little too steep for them for various reasons. So that's a big one. All right, if you're ready for number six, the sixth tip. Remember, I got 10. Sixth tip of how to survive your first role and beat beat let's go with that. Imposter syndrome. All right. Beat imposter syndrome and survive in your first role. Let me get a number six in the chat. Let me get a six. Damn, that will give me a heart attack. Right. We get a six in the chat, man. Y'all still in here. We still deep. Let's go, baby. Got a few more left. Y'all rocking with me? Let's rock, baby. We here. Let's work. Let me get a six in. All right. Let me get one more six. Give me one more six, man. I'm worth one more six. I figure I'm about now. Like number eight. All right. Cool. Got it. Thank you. All right. So appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate those sixes, man. Appreciate those sixes. There we go. Appreciate that, Roy. Cortelius. Mop. 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 All right. Sorry. All right. Dalton. Oh, as always. Loranda Graves. That's a new one. Okay. Welcome to the Breakthrough Bears. You know what I'm saying? Tech at night, but we break through bears over here. And people want to know why I switch it to why I say breakthrough bears. It was breakthrough crew, that was cool, but breakthrough bears, I feel like it's just more personal. One, family calls me bear for many reasons. I'm not gonna tell you what my wife called me, but um, Smoky Bear. I said it. All right, Smoky Bear because I smoke cigars. Only you can prevent forest fires. But just bears. I love bears. Everybody who knows me knows I love bears, and so breakthrough bears it is. So, all right. So what was it? Six. All right. We talk about avoid hanging out with slackers. Number six. Yep. Leverage internal training opportunities. So whenever an organization says, okay, we're gonna pay for your certifications, we provide free training tools, like they may have uh, a free link that you have to some Google Path training or some Udemy training or some used to be Cloud Guru training. Only I think they sold the company, but there's other training, Pluralsight, whoever. They may have free packages where you can use a free membership or heavily discounted membership to do training for virtually nothing or free. Well, virtually nothing, if not free. Take advantage of those because that's literally you're getting paid because you can learn while on a job. Like if your job, you're not going to be that busy round the clock, resolving tickets or what have you, to where you don't have time to train. At least for 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day. You know, picking up something. Working towards that next cert or working towards those next set of skills that you're targeting for a next role. Leverage the training opportunities that they have, even if they're going to send you to a seminar or they're going to pay for a class, even if it's a college course, and you may consider getting a degree, they're going to pay for it, what have you. Take advantage of it, man. Those things are great to have, especially when you're self-taught and having to come out of your own pocket. You start to have an appreciation for when it's free. All right. So take advantage of opportunities. Um, Even though some of the internal training opportunities can be crappy. Like if they say, well, we'll train you how to do, we have our own recorded training. Because some organizations have been sold a bag of goods by these training organizations that says, oh, yeah, we can teach your engineers how to do whatever. Some of them just crappy. They're just bad. They're not good. It's not good training material, but some of them are really, really good. So take advantage of those. All right, number seven. That brings me to number seven. Get really good at something. Get really good at something. So and I don't mean just something like as far as your external training, but I mean to your at the actual job function. Like if you're really good at provisioning IM roles, or if you're good at provisioning IM roles, get really good to where you're the first person they want to go to if they're in a dire need of help of how to solve that ticket issue related to that specific tech skill set, or if it's something like infrastructure as code or writing, dealing with containers or shell scripting or bash scripting or whatever. Just get really good at something because that's where the magic begins on you excelling in your tech career for your next roles. Because you want to eventually, especially after you're about third and fourth role, after your third role, you want to start to become a specialist in something because specialists are always highly sought out, highly compensated, and highly sought out, both for FTE full-time roles, contracting roles, and even businesses that you can do on the side. Like you want to start to eventually migrate out of a generalist, even a cloud engineer as a generalist to specializing in something. Maybe you're a cloud engineer with DevOps specialty skills in Google Cloud. But again, it starts where you currently are in your help desk role. I think for a long time I kind of placated with just not taking the training and opportunity in front of me enough seriously in my earlier roles, especially that first role. Um, don't make that mistake. Get really good at doing something. It's not saying, oh, you're going to give more time commitment to the company or organization. They don't pay you that much. Again, when you're a person that come up with all these excuses, you just end up becoming one of the slackers. All right. The earlier you work really hard, the latter, the easier your career really gets for you as you evolve into other roles because you've done the hard work of acquiring so many foundational key skills that prepares you for the roles that you have later down the road. That's just the end of that's just the because Stone Cold said so. All right, that's just the bottom line, right? I don't know if I mean I watch wrestling, but yeah, get really good at something in this your first role. Just get really good at something. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be anything major, but just get really good at something. All right, so number eight. Um, and number eight, this was big in 2020. Remember, we got 10. I'm already on a call with y'all for almost an hour. I told you I was gonna get 30 minutes. Man, it's just because I love this. I love helping y'all. And I love the participation. So however long it takes to get the job done. All right, number eight. Boom. Now is not the chance to start your social justice movement. All right. Should put a T at the end of that, but you get it. Now is not the time to start your, you know, whatever your movement is, representing whatever ideology you have. Now is not the time, buddy. Not in your first tech role. All right. Now is the time to build. All right. Build on the accomplishment. You're taking a small fire, like you've been rubbing this fire. You've been trying to get a spark going the whole time. You're trying to get a spark to going the whole time. Got your offer letter, boom. Start your first roll. Now you got a little spark going. You got a little flame going. Now you need to grow it into a fire. Grow it into a full fire. That's what this roll is for. You're trying to grow that into you're feeding it twigs and tumbleweeds and whatever else it takes to feed fuel that little flame to become a full grown fire. This is not the way you want to be because one, it stifles you so many and starts to isolate you socially at work. And it's more hassle than what it's worth. Now, it's not saying you shouldn't participate in social justice movements that's going on that you're passionate about. No, by all means, go ahead. But you being at the epicenter of starting one at work just isn't smart. You got to play the game, ladies and gentlemen. You got to play the game until you get to the position to where the game plays by you. That's it. All right. Get yourself to a position of power to where then you can call the shots and then make real changes on any type of social matters that you care about. All right. Um, just don't make the mistake of trying to again do all that now. Suck it up. Some stuff is gonna suck. Some stuff is gonna hurt. Deal with it for now. Come back later when you're able to assemble an army. And the army meaning an army is a resource of your experience and resources and skills to be able to handle social justice issues. But for now, don't be at the epicenter of it. All right, it's not worth it. It's all gonna come and go anyway. So fight it when you have leverage, not when you're at a disadvantage. All right, be smart. Strategy, baby, strategy. All right. That's number eight. So if you're ready for number nine, remember we got 10, so we got two more left. Let me see a nine in the chat. This is my last time asking y'all for this. I promise you I'm not gonna I'm not gonna annoy y'all anymore with these numbers. And I appreciate it. But this is why we're running that marathon. It's that marathon night. When I do these long tips, well, pause, another pause. Wow, long tips. When I do another Advice when I do these long advice videos with lots of advice, it's a marathon, baby. This how you gotta be. This is why again, how you train as a cloud engineer or cloud professional is how you're gonna perform in roles. Like fatigue is nothing to me because I built that training. Like build yourself to have endurance. So when you're helping or wherever you're performing as a cloud professional, you just have that innate ability to pull out of yourself the endurance needed to finish whatever the task is. Real quick instance. For instance, I was literally at work. I literally could have left the office today probably like 4:34. I didn't leave the office till close to 7 because I was working on a task, an annoying, tedious task. But I was trying to debug a Git repository issue that I was having, Git issue. So again, but I've trained for stuff like that. So when I got in the moment, and then I did fix it. I eventually fixed it. Like it's all right in this state files what it needs to be, etc. But you, if you don't train yourself for that, if you hang out with the slackers, you don't build that endurance to be able to perform well in a role. So therefore, now my day tomorrow is going to be a lot easier because I did the hard stuff that I needed to do today. Right. So you move forward. And it just anyway. Yeah. Number 9. Let's see what we got. We got a lot of nines. Man, appreciate that. Helmet said kiss ass till you can kick ass. I love that helmet. I love that. That's exactly right. Kiss ass till you can kick ass. And I ain't, you ain't gotta be no brown smoocher or whatever. Brown noser. I ain't never been no brown noser, but I've always been a strategist. Like I've always looked at the bigger picture and don't let nobody trick you out of position. But until then, eat crow until, until you ever to let it snow. No, I'm just I don't know where that came from. All right, number 9. Plan to be there for 2 years at max. All right. So I know you all heard this before. Um, I know you all heard this before. They say, "Oh, in tech, the way to make more money is to get into your next role," and they are absolutely right because the bonuses that you get, well, the bonuses are sometimes great, but the promotions that you get cents on a dollar. It's not anything crazy. But just plan to be there 2 years, because especially in we're talking about your first role, like no more than 2 years. If you're in a position longer than 2 years, either you really love the organization and you have some type of debt to them, more so to the people in the organization, you really love what you're doing. No, you love the organization, meaning the people at the organization. You have your side jobs or your side business or whatever happened in your personal life is taking care of you well enough to where you kind of need this job to stay exactly how it is and where it is so it doesn't mess up everything else you have going on outside the company. People either stay there longer than 2 years for that, or you're slacker. All right, is the third reason is usually you're a slacker. All right, that person is a slacker. They've been there for 2 years or more. They're just scared. Um, and you don't want it. You only want to be there at 2 years max. Anything under that is procrastination. All right. So plan to only be there for 2 years, and then and you don't have to be there for the whole two. You can only be there for like 8 months, 6 months. As long as you get everything on this list that I mentioned, you get as much out of the position that you can. And it's when I say the position, you're in the position, but you're really with an organization. You need to squeeze as much out of the organization as possible because these are really just free. Free. It's you're getting paid to have access to all this abundance of resources. You're getting paid to, right? Like they're paying you while on the clock and having access to all these things. All right. So plan to be there for only about 2 years max. All right. Most companies nowadays they understand employees migrating and moving and leaving other places. Like in today's climate, for the past 3 4 years, like it's a part of the culture. They get it. There's no really sense of a longevity, with people being loyal to organizations and organizations being loyal to people just isn't really that much of a cultural norm anymore in the states. So, not saying it doesn't happen, but You don't need to be standing no help desk or no cloud support engineer or no knock position for more than 2 years. You need to be getting up out of there way before then. All right. And last but not least, number 10. Before we get to number 10, I got to let you know about my friendly Cloud Tech Bootcamp discount. Sound like a sponsored ad. Yeah, my sponsored ad. All right. Cloud Tech discount if you're interested. And again, it's coming up. Campus coming up October 1st. Now, don't be hitting me October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th saying, hey, when's your boot camp start? Because we only do this boot camp about 2 to 3 times a year. One of the one we do over the summer is usually geared towards teenagers. Um, because they're out of summer school and their parents want them to do something productive with their lives. But yeah, we really do it 2 year, twice a year. All right. So we do one in the winter and we do one during the spring. And that's it. All right. Summer is for again, usually teenagers. Uh so you miss out on getting this in getting this training in the winter and boom, getting everything you need and being ready to start applying for jobs before the end of the year, close to the top of next year. You and your next tech role. I'm not making no promises, of course. Everybody's different because people procrastinate. All right. But you and your next tech role a year later, or by next summer, or by next spring. So take advantage of our Cloud Tech boot Camp discount. I think it's 15% off. That's the most I've ever given off on a discount. But yeah, use that discount code Tech at Night. Go to bcloudengineers.com. It should be at the bottom. Should be at the bottom. Look at that. Look at that banner going, man. Look, man, I got a little production going on. Y'all see my green screen? I know I gotta fix it so it's. But anyway, um, um, bcloudengineers.com. Or if you want to do even if you schedule a one-on-one call with me, you can do that does go towards a discount for your boot camp as well. So for those who I've done one-on-one calls with, you do get a credit towards boot camp as well. So don't think that's you know doesn't apply, but that does apply. Anyway, back to number 10 of these ways to survive your boot camp, your first tech, your boot camp. How to survive your first tech role and beat imposter syndrome. Got it. All right, here's number 10. It's time to leave when you're facing promotion. This is when you're going to know it's time to leave. I get this question a lot as well. They want to know, oh, when's the best time to make my jump to the second role, to the next role? It's when you get that promotion. Excuse me, or at least when you're offered that promotion. Now, sometimes a promotion isn't just a bump in pay. Hey, we're going to pay you more. Sometimes it's a bump in responsibilities. I know, right? Crazy. You might go from graveyard shift like I did to midday shift, and then from midday shift to day shift. Right? That's a promotion, all right? Or you go from tier one to tier two, or all the way up to tier three support, whatever. You're given more responsibilities. Now, on the surface level, it's you got a promotion. Realistically, career wise, from a strategic point of view, what the organization is telling you is that you're more valuable to the market. And we want to distract you by putting you in this promotion right here before you realize it. All right. We want to get more. There's more to get out of you before you try to get that more out of the market. All right. Because you ain't getting that much more for us. So Um, yeah, when you're getting worried about this promotion that you're about to get, or you've even accepted a promotion, it's definitely time for you to leave. Like it's time for you to start blow off that resume, all right, and send it to our recruiter. Of course, Tiffany Hall will update your resume for you, our career architect. Um, and start applying for roles and start interviewing and get your next role. Now, getting your second tech role will be a lot easier of a journey than it was to get your first tech role. I would say the hardest you're gonna ever work in your first tech in your tech career is getting that first tech role. But after that, it gets better and better and better for you because you literally get better and better and better. So, and you'll know what to expect. Now it's not only in the interviewing process, but in the actual role, the next role that you'll get. You'll get a lot more introspection on what to expect in that role because now you're in tech. On the other side, you've heard the stories, you've done a lot of the work, etc. So, yeah, it's time for you to leave when you're facing a promotion. All right, or You got your first write up. For real. All right. So you got your first write up. It's time for you to leave as well. All right. Because that second one, hey, it might come a week later, you know. So, or they might have it out for you, it's that time. So those are the only two times I say it's really time for you to leave. Um, Especially if you get that sort of next level certification. You get that certification, yeah, your associate level certification. Or if you already have and don't need to renew it, yeah. And either way, it's time to leave. It's time to go. This is anything within the 2 year window. It's time to go. Anything after the 2 year window, it's been time to go. All right. So aside from that, Q and A's, I'm gonna take about 10 minutes to do Q and A's. God dog it, man. I said I was gonna get 30 minutes, man. We are here at an hour again. Here we go, an hour. Me and you meeting at an hour. All right. I said I was gonna get 30 minutes because I'm tired. You hear me? But I got some Q and A's for y'all. So drop your questions, man. Tell me what you're drinking tonight before you tell me what you're thinking. But yeah, I'm gonna answer quite a few. Not quite a few. I'm gonna answer a few tech career questions, cloud tech related questions. So drop them in the chat. And let me go back up to the top because some of y'all had questions earlier. What Mop say? Mop said I'm drinking water. I recently got the SAA CO3. Man, congrats, man. I wish I had. I need to start getting some sounds now, some sound effects. But congrats, Mop. Congrats, man. Recently got my SA. Working on projects, having trouble finding any entry level roles on job sites, which is frustrating. Any advice, please? Absolutely. One, if I was, and I got a video on this about how to, I think is how to execute, how to pass job interviews or how to get recruiters attracted to your resume. It's one of the Tech at Nights. If you go to my YouTube channel, we did a whole talk about this, but because you need to recognize what problems you have uh, in the uh, job hunting process that's that your process is stuck in the mud at. If you have a resume, if your recruiters aren't hitting you up, if you're not getting in, like even not emails, text messages, or calls from recruiters, and you got a resume problem, and I walk through all the other steps about what other problem you might have, um, based on the type of feedback that you're getting in the job market as you go through your journey of getting your job offer. Not even your first job offer. This will be your third, fourth, or sixth. So but yeah, if you got your cert and it sounds like I'm betting this your resume. Funny, I had this conversation with Henry on his platform, but it's probably your resume is probably your formatting of it isn't good. Um, Picking up on the ATS with the keywords on your resume, believe it or not, that does matter. Literally, recruiters will just control F through your resume. They're not reading the whole summary and reading this. They don't even understand 99% on it of the technical jargon on there. So they just control Fing based on the job board or job recs that they're looking to hire for. So you probably have a resume problem. But some other advice let me give you is that when you have your, and I shared this on my one-on-one calls as well, most recently. But um, when you apply for jobs, go to the recruiting agency's website and apply for the job directly. Like that's some of the biggest tips right there, hidden secrets. Man, my dog Lawrence in here, man. Lauren, man, what's going on, big dog? Hey, man, what's going on, big Mike, Memphis, man? The Godfather himself, the Godfather of Dev, man. What's going on, man? I got you again, Mark. What's going on, man? Oh man, oh man. So many things. I got so many. But man, everybody go follow Lawrence D. Coles, man. Follow and subscribe to his YouTube channel. If you see him on, yeah, the Godfather. I said it. Yeah. If you see him on Twitter, if you see him on LinkedIn, if you see him on YouTube, go follow Lawrence, man. He posts so many gems when it comes to Dev Rev Hell. I always say Dev Rev Hell. But he knows so much and he's grown so much in this industry and he's very popular in this industry, and he helps a lot of people in this industry. Um, just follow him, man. Especially if you want to get your programmatic skills up, like your dev skills up. He's just a great person that has abundant of resources and just wisdom to share with you. So, and he's also always posting cool pictures, especially when he's doing Sunday with his kids going to church. So, but yeah, follow Lawrence, man. Lawrence, man, Godfather Lawrence, man. He's that guy, man. Um, See, Web Dead Challenge. Let me get it. No problem, brother. No problem. No problem. No problem. Gratitude to you, man. Gratitude to you. Um, my bad, mom. Let me get back. So, all right. So you got to make sure check your resume, but also you need to apply to the actual jobs on the recruit. Y'all are hitting up recruiters and finding recruiters saying, "Hey, I'm this. Da, 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 this is my specialty. Da, 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 da. Do you have any jobs for me?" They don't know, and they don't have that much. They don't have that kind of time. If you want to cut through the noise of all the noise they're getting, say, "Hey, um, I'm a such and such, and I applied for a role on your website. This particular role right here, I think I'm best fit for it. Here's a copy of my attachment of my resume. Please let me know when you're able to schedule a call to discuss if it interests you or if it is if it in line my experience resume in lines with the job or whatever. And then boom, they're gonna look at the job rec, see that it is available. Boom, they're gonna look at your resume, do control find, and make sure this job rec skills line up. If most of them do, boom, they're gonna set up say absolutely, let's schedule a call. Da 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 da. Boom, there's your opportunities right there. Also, built-in is a great job finding app. A lot of people use LinkedIn, Indeed, and Dice. Don't sleep on Dice. Dice really isn't the platform for jobs per se. Like you're not going to get the best quality recruiters out of Dice. Don't like please don't get it misunderstood. I've gotten jobs off Dice. All right, don't get it twisted. But you will get a ton of foreigners that's going to hit you off Dice. But you really want Dice is kind of the measuring stick of how potent your resume is. A lot of people don't know that. But because if you get a lot of foreign recruiters that hit you for particular jobs based on your resume that they saw off Dice, that means you have a good resume. It's usually the measuring test of the quality of how well your resume is or isn't based off, when you post it on Dice, what kind of response you're getting. So that's kind of always kind of the measuring stick that I use, especially for students to know, we get to gauge where you are on the resume scale of getting closer towards that particular role. So don't sleep on Dice. But yeah, just start local recruiting agencies towards in your area, your town, your city, local tech recruiting agencies, and then start going through their website. Yeah, it's a job to find a job. It's going to be tedious. It's going to be hard, but it's so worth it when you get the offer letter. It's worth it even going through the interview rounds. When the actual, you can actually get an interview beyond a recruiter. So hopefully that advice works out for you, Mop. If not, you want to talk to me more, schedule a one-on-one. If it does work for you and you hit and you get a job by next week or the week after, you better come back and show us some love, man. You know what I'm saying? Show us on the praise report, that you got your opportunity. So wishing you the best though, still. Stay in tune, man. All right. Bernard McCargo. How to do you do? Oh, I guess you're saying how do you do your resume if you have no prior tech experience? One, that's a Tiffany question. It's a loaded question. Projects is how you feel your resume when you have no prior tech experience. I'm just going to say that. The formatting is you need to hire. The formatting is the issue you need to take up with a career architect like our Tiffany Hall, our in-house, or any uh, resume writer. But aside from that, you fill it up with projects, or even if you want to go volunteer for an organization or a company who has a cloud infrastructure or a website hosted on the cloud, and you want to do some volunteer work for them, fine. Now I said volunteer work. I didn't say go be some intern somewhere. Makes me cringe when people say, "Oh, I'm proud to be an internship at this fame company." I'm like, what? Now, unless you're getting paid, no, otherwise it's not worth it to be an intern providing high level free value to an organization, saving them God knows how much money, uh, and just getting a internship. getting yeah, you might be getting references, internal references that you can add to your portfolio, but you can always say you worked at a company, never worked at a company. So the name recognition on your resume don't really it carry weight, but it don't carry weight like that, enough for you to be work a free intern for a big fame company or big company, any tech company, or any company in general on the tech side. Being an intern just doesn't make sense in today's age. There's so many ways to get opportunities and make money, and you're making so many people money, especially on this cloud tech side. Literally, our roles are that we save company tens of thousands, millions of dollars, just by and making them billions and millions of dollars, by literally just consolidating their tech efforts all through the skill of a few cloud engineers or cloud professionals. So don't ever denounce your value by I know I went on my internship rant, but yeah, I just have a gripe with the internships. But anyway, hopefully that helps you. Projects, man, do your projects. I said when all else fails, do projects. You can't lose by doing projects and add them to your resume. It's going to make your technical skills sharper. It's going to make it help you breeze through your technical rounds. And hiring managers and supervisors love hearing self-taught stories of the type of projects that you took on for yourself and how you went about building them. So, and it gives you more to talk about in your interviews. It's a win-win-win. So projects. Hopefully that answer your question, Bernard. Get lied to shorten it. Telling me interested. Ask for the chat. I don't know if you're talking about Uncle Lord Lawrence. Big on Lawrence. Go pick up. But Godfather Lawrence. All right, no problem, no problem. Who else got questions? Could use school projects. Yep. Could use school projects. That's absolutely true. School project, I'll just go and now literally we did a tech at night what last week. We talked about projects. We talked about projects you should be doing um uh to help boost up your resume as a cloud professional. I gave you like we went over 5 instrumental projects that anybody can do as a cloud professional, aspiring cloud professional, that will give you an array of critical skills across at least several cloud tech roles. So those are projects right there. You can find and do them on your own for little to no cost. If you go watch back and watch the video. So, you don't always have to rely on an institution to give you those projects. You can also go out and find them on your own. So, but if you want to do both or either, like I always say, there's no wrong way to train. You can train however you feel best train works for you. Because some people just need that, especially in the beginning, early stages, just need that helping hand right there and there with them, and that's fine. Um, but the only wrong way to train is procrastination, as I always say. So, heard that I am doesn't. Well, you out your mind. I'm gonna tell you this, Dalton. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna answer one more Tech question. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna tell you this. I'll see how far I should go with this. Because I don't like, the money is there. We already know that. And so I'm not a big proponent of promoting or gloating about get these tech opportunities to get the bag because it's tacky. It's not true for especially when those starting most people who are starting off, and it gives people the wrong angle to view tech opportunities as just a bag because it's so much more rich of an opportunity than getting the bag. The bag is going to come with the skill and experience. Trust me. All right. But all right. So I say all that to say. So there was a role, and I'm going to answer one more. I'm going to get off. There was a role that I interviewed for that I didn't get. It was an IM role. Didn't get that role. That role, it was IM, and it was like something I could do in my sleep. All right. Made it all the way to the final round. Not the final round. Made it all. Yeah, made it. Yeah, it was a one. I think I went through 2 interviews. I don't know. Anyway, I did make it to the final round though. And but the final round was like a technical round, and ended up not getting the job. All right. they said they passed on and just went with the other candidate who just literally just had more experience than me. Fair. Funny because when you get to the level, when you get to higher levels within tech, you, you think that you become critical of, like, you just become more critical. You become more of a critic of yourself as far as the small things you wish you could have did. It comes and goes though. But like I remember going through the interview process, and I probably it was like one or two things I didn't know, and it's usually always one or two things. I either crush a interview when I know I nailed every question or most questions, um, or I didn't get an interview when I felt like I missed one or two questions. Especially at this level. And it could be for any reason you don't get the job. So don't beat yourself up too bad. Rejection is a part of the grind. It's a part of the glory. So I didn't get the job. Anyway, I started to say, bro, the IM role itself was paying 200K. It's 200K role, bro. 200K. And they didn't want anybody more than, they were only asking for those who had 3 to 4 years of experience. I got 6. So for someone to say that IM doesn't pay as high, you're greatly mistaken. IM is one of those niche specialties. I always try to encourage students who want to specialize. And actually, IM was probably the exact role, one of the roles I was saying that's one of the most overlooked niche roles that most people just don't choose to specialize in, which is beyond wild to me. So much you can do with IM, and it's so deep, even though it starts off as so easy to learn and so cool and fun to learn. Because it's mostly just it's more, not mostly, but it's admin adjacent as far as the GUI aspect of it, of how it looks. Then because it's not actual code, even though policy is like scripting code, but you know you can navigate it fairly a lot. It's a lot more green novice appealing than anything else, but it's so deep. IM is extremely extremely deep of a bag. So if you specialize in IM, like Ryan Wright, who's our one of our boot camp mentors, he's in the Azure IM SME for a large organization. Makes a great living, doing really well for himself and his kids and his wife, as an IM person, IM specialist. So yeah, and then at the end of the day, it's not always about who pays the most. By the way, I didn't get that IM role, but the role I did get and accepted paid more. I'm just not gonna tell you how much more, but it paid more. But um, it's not about the paychecks are going to come. Trust me. Especially usually the paychecks usually hit in today's age. Usually hit about the second roll, the third roll. That's when you really start. That's when you really start running into some. Oh, okay. Maybe I can take myself out to eat every week type of money. Right? But don't make the mistake of trying being a bag chaser. Be a skills chaser. Be a problem solving chaser. Be an opportunity provider. Those are the things that are going to get you. Those are the things that are going to get you like Godfather Lawrence, where you're getting paid to travel and teach. Yeah, I promise you, you're doing it wrong if you're looking after what pays the most. Because what's going to happen is not make the mistake. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to be at the time. I was like, I was going to pursue Kubernetes, and because they were paying the most, they were paying top dollar for Kubernetes engineers. Like that was the premium gold role. Nowadays, you- DevOps engineers make just about the same, and sometimes even more than Kubernetes engineers. And Kubernetes is really, really hard. At one time, I remember Kubernetes salary was averaging like 120. DevOps were averaging around 130, 135 at the time. But at the time, Kubernetes was the gold standard. It was like a 150 plus role, But again, you chase the money, you're in the wrong race. Chase the opportunities, chase the skills, chase the contribution to others. Trust me, it's going to pay off a lot more than just the paycheck, and the paycheck is going to come with the fulfilled gratitude that you have. So sorry to be on my little TB box, Dalton, but hopefully it makes sense to you. All right, master. This one more question to three rows for me. Word. There you go. There you go, Lawrence. Tell them. Hey, and as I was saying, Lawrence, when you're in this first tech roles, your first few tech roles, you grind it out and try and scale up as much as you possibly can and work hard at it. Don't take breaks. Don't take it easy during the initial phase of your tech career, because the type of work gets the journey for you gets better and in a sorts of ways easier, because you've done all the dog dirty work earlier in your career. Like you front loaded the front half of your career with gaining in the grit of the skills, the tech skills, the social skills, etc. Yeah, I said the social skills, to where as you grow in this industry, but your tech, everything's going to continue to grow, but your bag of what you can do expands, 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 to now a lot of the work that you're getting as your career grows and grows isn't as hard and difficult for you. Like it's a lighter load on your capabilities, if that makes sense. So it gets kind of lighter as you rise, because if you front load the front end of your first tech role, first few tech roles. That makes sense. Anyway, all right, Mop asked me a question. Mop said, "How do you get?" Oh, and I'm gonna respond to that, Dalton. Then I'm gonna get off. How'd you get the courage to start the YouTube channel? I started B Cloud Engineers because, one, and this is the beautiful part of it, and this is why I tell students don't skip steps and try to become an overnight success, because there's no overnight success. Everything you've done in life up until this point has a contributing factor to what you're doing. My years of coaching and public speaking enabled me with the skills and social skills enough to be able to start a YouTube channel, and even the aspects of how to start a YouTube channel, like how to create a title, how to do hashtags, the importance of the tagging, da 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 da, as well as speaking on camera, speaking in front of people, making others comfortable, entertaining while being informative, came from earlier skills, and that had I skipped that phase of my life, I wouldn't have been here. So the courage just came from, at the end of the day, understanding that there's someone who needs me and needs me to give them some help, verbally, that they can apply to their life physically, um, more than my fear of being embarrassed. You know, so my fear of being embarrassed or not being good enough or nobody not even listening, is circumvented by the desire and need to help that person that needs me more than I'm afraid of whatever fear that comes with public speaking, if that answers your question. So, is it easy? Absolutely not. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Man, I get to talk to cool people like y'all every time I do these. People around the world. Dalton got me. I'm on the reason on here tonight because I told Dalton I'm gonna be here last week. So anyway, keep that. Yeah, stick to the I am, man. And that's one thing I want to say, and I'm gonna get off, Dalton. Is that's the con of hanging around slackers. Slackers will have you doubting what you're doing because they don't see the vision that you see. And in most cases, they don't. These are people who haven't studied the market as you study it. And part of that studying is listening to people who've been there and done that, um, and know what's to come, you know, um, or at least has a good guesstimate of what's to come. So stick to what you're doing. But we talked about this countless times before, following that red ball of, mm, you're always gonna get lost following that red ball. Stick to what you got going on. Give it a chance to work, or fail. Sometimes things got to fail before they work because it may open up opportunities in other ways. But stick stick to what you got. You're doing the IM SME thing. Just give it time to work, man. So look forward to your next posting of your next thing that you're working on, as well as next accomplishment. So all right, y'all, I'm out of here, man. Y'all know the vibes. Hey, appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that, man. All the same, all the same. And keep those Sunday pictures coming, man. And just keep the content coming, man. Trust me, you inspire more than you know. You uplift more than you know. You inform more than you know. And a lot of people have a tremendous amount of respect for you. People that you'll never even be able to shake their hand. So y'all have a great night. Appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, share with a friend that's trying to get into the cloud tech industry, trying to get some skills. Um, and hey, man, remember, you had what it took the entire time. All right, we out.